Hey, good afternoon, Sabbath afternoon. Prophet Verdict Delaney here, checking in again. So it's hot down here, so still no power in Greenville. So we got a hurricane coming. They're enhancing it to they're trying to do a Cat 2 on the way in with their mechanizational weather engineering. And as we talked about how we knocked down a lot of this stuff, but it's also Rachel's prayer has to be answered. So we'll go on to something else at the moment. We'll talk about the government. Okay, the government. So there's different governments running the world at the moment. But we're just going to talk about the two. Okay, the satanic government and God's government. So they already ran out of money, the Corporation of America that Satan put us back under when we got away from the Great Britain and started this constitutional government. And then they brought back in and sold their soul to the devil again. So the government, the United States of America, Inc., or whatever they call it, is bankrupt. The money is monopoly money, okay? But because the overlap of time, they're allowing that money to be utilized in this time until the new government comes in. So the word government always supposed to mean God over men, and T, the sign of the cross. God over men, sign of the cross, God's government. So we have satanic regime government, and people are standing up and being the community. We the people, Jesus is repossessing the land, repossessing the people, repossessing the church, repossessing everything. And people don't realize it. So we got to get on board of what God is doing in this time and be the community and look out for our neighbors and not allow the federal satanic reserve people to rule anymore. So it all goes back to in God we trust, we the people, we the people. So the new money's already been printed. We already got the tons of gold and silver and all that to back up all the new money. So we're getting in this transition time, like I said, this time of we're in this time of transition from the old satanic government to the new God's government. Talked about being on Jesus' shoulders, the government would be on his shoulders, which means it'll all be based on what Jesus wants. God's harmony, God's heavenly. So the old system, the old beast system, Babylonian system, has already passed away in a sense, but you're just seeing the residue of the insanity of that being crushed, okay, to where the new comes in. And so the biggest thing that I get mad about is the provisions. God's people need provisions to survive. God's family. Jesus purchased the family of God through being the last sacrifice, and they need the provisions. So pray in the provisions that nobody's allowed to steal them. Nobody's allowed to steal them. So if you go on the and look at the videos on that are the reports coming on North Carolina, they're stealing the provisions. The devil's people are stealing the provisions, and they're even mentioning their names. A sheriff and fire chiefs and all these people. It's the same as they're saying we're a bunch of bleeping liars. So they're admitting that they're liars, that they work for Satan. It's subtle, but you got to read into it that they're admitting that they're liars and work for Satan, and they're stealing. They're steal, kill, and destroy. So God's putting his foot down, and of course his people, once they stand up, which they already have, to be the community, because we talked about the religion, the sleep of religion, the bondage to religion. Spiritual bondage is what they've been into in the Bible Belt area. So the Bible Belt's been unbuckled, which is a stranglehold. So now as everything shifts over to be the community of believers that we're all supposed to be the giant family that Jesus purchased. So there's more than enough of everything on the planet. The enemy just steals, kills, and destroys and hoards everything. Because I told you they already mapped from space all the gold, all the jewels, all the oil, all the water, all the resources that we need. Everything that we need. They know where it is. And once it's totally shifted over to God's over men, God's government, God over men with the sign of the cross, Jesus in our hearts, the Lamb in our hearts. So then all provisions will be provided for. All God's children will be provided for. Now there is a last curtain call, and we'll talk about that sometime soon again. About you've been good with hardly anything. Chewing gum, duct tape, and spit, as we call it in our business, to try to patch up things because sometimes you have no provision. And I was born in Michigan. We used to duct tape our cars back together, duct tape our windows, duct tape our fenders on. Put a couple of rivets and some duct tape, and just to get through, because the cruel taskmaster Satan, who's been ruling the world through his satanic regime of the Legion. So now that that's being done away with, we're in the greatest tribulation because we're right there in the middle of the greatest amount of liars, sins and lies. Sin causes lies, causes sickness, causes death. Satan's the sin that causes death. Satan's the one who lies to cause you to be a sinner. Satan's the sin that lies within. Satan's the one who lies and tries to get you to believe in his lies and cause corruption. So now that that's gone out 100,000 times, it must have, because we have probably 700 videos by now, to where the new regime under God, one nation under God, then like we talked about, another nation under God, another nation under God, another nation under God, as Jesus re-proclaims, repossesses the world, releases the world. As the vineyard, in this vineyard story, the vineyard was leased out, and God left. And then at harvest time, he sent his servants there, and the ones that took over the vineyard beat them up, because that's the devil's people. And then the air, God sent the air, which is Jesus, and they killed him. They killed the air of the garden, the air of the earth. So reread about the vineyard. So in this time, Jesus is putting us in the head of the vineyard to be the fathers and mothers of the people, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, to all roll up our sleeves and lend hands. So, like I said, all the gold, all the jewels, all the money, finances has been printed, all the gold back, and the monopoly money of the satanic, we're allowing that to be used as a time as we make this transition, because we need, things to run smoothly as Jesus repossesses the world. So take heart, people. Do what you can, lend a hand, have a barbecue, share some water, some bread, some peanut butter with the neighbors. So I'll check in again. I'm still stuck in South Florida. So Duke Energy keeps saying my power's on, my power's on. And no, it's not on. So apparently I cannot leave here. And then they're prophesying a storm. Then they're prophesying it'd be a Cat 1. Then they're prophesying it'd be a Cat 2. Now mechanical means they're trying to bust it through to drown the state of Florida, which we talked about in the past. And it's allowed to because of the Sodom and Gomorrah in South Florida and all the insanity where even the bastardship of the churches in Manatee, Sarasota County, and Hillsborough County are still under the bastardship of the evil people and not God's true ones that humble themselves and prayed, 2 Chronicles 7:14. So with that said, we'll check in again.